866-494-WVNN. I bet I can't find anybody who's been to Lopburi to see the macaques. If you have, give us a call and we'll talk to you live on the air about the macaques. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm just tripping over this article. Man, yesterday was cool. I got to interview Mo Brooks. That was kind of neat. So I filled in for Jeff Poore yesterday afternoon with Noel Bishop of Bishop 30 Solutions. And we got to interview old Mo Daddy.
Yeah, how'd that go?
Mo-rific.
That was really
good. I know. Thank you. No, it was good. He the congressman is a good interview. I mean, he doesn't shy away from much. He'll tell you what he feels, you know. And so we're going to play that interview for you guys a little bit later in the show, so that you can hear Mo Daddy and his sweet interview. Yeah, it was pretty cool, man. I did 5 hours on the radio yesterday. It's a lot of hours.
That is a lot of hours. That's a lot of
talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I fell asleep as soon as I got home. At like 6:30, I was asleep on the couch.
And you just slept through the night?
No, my wife woke me up and she was like, you need to go to bed. It's like, okay. And then I slept like crap. Like I could not sleep in the bed. It was weird. I just rolled and tossed and turned and tossed and turned.
Have you ever used melatonin before? Yeah,
it makes me feel hammered the next day. Like I feel like I drank a fifth of whiskey.
Okay, well,
of course I wouldn't know what that felt like anymore, but back in the day I remember what that felt like.
Really?
Yeah,
I don't know how that feels like, but
it leaves me hungover feeling.
Really?
Yep.
I don't know. I take melatonin like I sleep really well. I have dreams and such. I don't usually have dreams unless I do take a melatonin. But
they say I'm a dreamer.
I don't even know what you're saying. What is that?
Oh my gosh.
Maybe if I heard it with like the beat and stuff behind it, but I don't know what that is.
Connor, what time did you go to bed last night?
Probably around 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Okay. Did you take a nap yesterday?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Connor's got on his nap game. He's grinding out those naps every day. I'm not mad at him. Let's see here. Dude, I'm on a new podcast. You know, yesterday we talked about how I'm a true crime podcast junkie. I found this new one about Venezuela. Venezuela.
They need to start talking about some of the like the murders and the chop and stuff.
Interesting story out of the chop this morning. We're not going to go there yet. We're going to save it, but there is a very, very interesting story out of the chop this morning. Seems like some of the residents there in the old Choppy Chaz are a little bit upset, a little bit angry, going to get angry.
I feel like they're just going to keep. They might just keep splitting. To be honest with you.
Splitting?
Like the chat, it'll be Chaz or Chop, and then maybe it'll divide into another country.
Maybe.
I mean, I feel like at some point they're gonna have to go against each other.
What do you
like a civil war?
I don't think you
a Chop civil war.
Yeah, I don't think you understand what's happening. They didn't split. They just changed their name.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Okay.
I'm saying, with people keep getting upset. I know there's people in there that aren't, fully
are not
supportive.
happy. Yeah.
Right.
Well, they're getting raped and they're getting beaten and they're getting shot. So I would be unhappy too.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, just try to move back into the U.S.
Yeah, immigrate across, come across there, come across the.
Is that illegal immigration at that point?
It would be. Indeed, it would be. Yes. I think we should build that wall.
The wall of Chaz. That kind of sounds good. No?
You're an idiot.
Okay.
Listen, we are here live, Hometown Heartbeat. We're on the podcast, on the live stream, Facebook and YouTube. Go to our website, thehometownheartbeat.com, thehometownheartbeat.com. Listen to us anywhere you get your podcast. When we come back, we will dive into the news of the day. And as always, you'll get my hot takes, and we will talk about them. You're listening to The Hometown Heartbeat on WVNN. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Hometown Heartbeat. My name is Zach Walker. I am your host. I'm here live with Young Dallas and producer Connor, and we are hanging out here in the studio. If you want to check us out on live streaming, you can go to YouTube or Facebook, either way, and we are streaming live on the old Facebox and the Twitter, the Twittergram and all that stuff. And if you want to call in and you got something to say, well, now's your time to say it. The phone number is 1-866-494-WVNN or 678-ON-RADIO, 1-866-494-9866 or 678-ON-RADIO. Give us a call. Let's talk. All right. Let's dive into some headlines. Connor, what do you have for me?
I've got you a hodgepodge, so I'm just going to go through randomly here, no rhyme or reason. How about... Oh, here we go. Have you heard about our neighbor to the west, Mississippi, their state flag? It has the Confederate battle flag emblem in it. Now there is, a backlash to it. Walmart has actually said they will no longer display the Mississippi flag in its stores, while the Mississippi Baptist Convention, which represents more than 500,000 churchgoers in the state, have urged state leaders to adopt a new flag. Now, this is coming from Washington Post article, but any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's stupid. Pretty stupid.
Yeah, I mean, there's been athletes who have spoke out against it. Kylan Hill, who plays college ball at Mississippi State, said he's not going to play unless they change the flag.
See you, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, he said he won't play for a state that's represented that way.
Enter the transfer portal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's what he's going to do. Maybe he'll just sit this year out and go to the draft next year. I don't know. But stuff like that, not a fan of it. But
look, here's the thing. Hey, Southern Baptist Convention, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. You're no better than a political organization. You know it. I know it. We all know it, okay? That's not something... In my opinion, the Southern Baptist Convention should stay out of this type of stuff. This is exactly the type of stuff that religious and faith-based organizations need to be staying away from. They need to be steering clear of it. Walmart, I don't care what Walmart does. It's a privately... It's a company that can do what... Here's how the free market works. If Walmart does something I don't like, I choose not to shop at Walmart. If there are enough people that say, I don't like what Walmart just did, and they stop shopping there, Walmart will cease to exist. That's how the free market works. It's not going to happen. Walmart can pretty much say whatever they want. And so at the end of the day, I don't know, it's an ignorant discussion to be having simply because it's just over the top. There is no need for this debate to be happening the way it's happening. It's not. If the flag truly offends people, we talked about it the other day. I'm not that much of an ardent supporter of the freaking rebel flag. I could care less. So change the flag. I don't care. It's stupid. Change it, or don't.
That's pretty much where I'm at too. I mean, businesses have their choice to do what they want and what they want to speak out against. But in this case, I don't care really either way whether they change the flag or not. So I'm right there with you on this one.
That's what that is. All right, Connor, what you got next?
All right, this is I haven't quite read through this article. I just got the headline. This is from The Hill. 3 North Carolina police officers have been fired after having a conversation about, quote, slaughtering black people and the need for a second civil war. And I can't find the context here because I haven't read the article yet. But, geez, what a headline.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. So it looks like there's some cops that are having some kind of discussion here about, let's see, Penner and Gilmore began talking from their respective cars, at which time Penner criticized the department, saying its only concern was, quote, kneeling down with black folks. About 30 minutes later, Piner received a phone call from Moore. According to the investigation, a segment in which Moore referred to a black female as a Negro. He also referred to the woman using a racial slur. He repeated the use of slur in describing a black magistrate, and Moore used a gay slur to describe the magistrate as well. Wow. Later, according to the investigation, Piner told Moore that he feels a civil war is coming and that he is ready. Piner said he was going to buy a new assault rifle and soon, quote, "We are just going to go out and start slaughtering them." It says expletive and then says black. You can put your own context to what that word is. I can't wait. God, I can't wait. More responded. Wow. Wow. These are the idiots that need to be shot in the courthouse square. They need to be hanging from a tree somewhere. Ah, man. You know, we talk about the left all the time and how they need to cull their nuts. How they need to get rid of their stupid people. That the stupid people are out there messing it up for everybody, kind of a thing. Well, that's what we have here, folks. What we have here is some ignorant people acting ignorant. And because they're acting ignorant, it's going to show bad on anybody who... Because there's only two views on this thing, right? I mean, you're either white or black. There's no common ground or no anything else. So because of that, I mean, you've got to be opposite of one another. You got to hate each other. You got to hate them. I hate them. You hate them, Dallas. You hate them. Hate them. Got to hate them. I don't know who we hate, by the way. I'm not saying there's a specific type of people that we hate here. That would be
bad.
That'd be bad.
I mean, there's just like you said, there's a lot of hate going on, and I feel like a lot of that the media is pushing. I don't know what for. I'm personally, I think there's something else going on.
Like what?
I don't know. I'm a conspiracy guy.
So am I. Lay it on me.
Well, I feel like, Hillary Clinton, when all this happened, she was under investigation. She was supposed to go take the stand, and all that's kind of getting covered up by all the the rioting and stuff. When that happened, she was supposed to be in court. So I mean, I don't know. I just feel like there's other stuff going on.
Yeah,
but
I don't know if I'd call that a conspiracy.
It's just a reach. I don't think it's maybe not a conspiracy, but I feel like it's out there.
That's fair. I mean, I'll give it to you. I don't think it's as out there as you think it is, personally. But that's just me. Oh man, what else you got over there, Connor?
All right. The appeals court has upheld the decision by the Justice Department to dismiss the case against Michael Flynn. Now Jerry Nadler in the House, one of the leading figures in the Trump impeachment, has said that the House, quote, may very well pursue impeachment of Attorney General William Barr.
Good luck, you freaking idiot. That's all I have to say about that. I'm kidding. Yeah, this guy's a circus clown, and he knows it. And he the way the Democrats have made a mockery of the court system, the government itself, the way it's created, what it's created to do. I hope everybody remembers that when they go and vote in November. They should, because it's freaking embarrassing. It's freaking embarrassing. You impeached the president out of 100% political reasons. And now you're talking about impeaching the attorney general when Flynn did nothing wrong. Flynn's going to sue the piss out of the DOJ, too. He's going to sue him. He's going to win. He's going to win. And he's going to get his career and his, all that stuff. I mean, he can't get that stuff back, but he's going to he's going to get some money out of the deal. I'll bet you that. It's one of those things that it's, I don't know, dude. Sorry, I was reading something and it made me confused. It made me get sideways there a little bit. I just feel like that guy is. I mean, what's going on right now is 100% political. It's got nothing to do with procedure or with the law or anything else. It is absolutely a procedure, or it's a political ploy to assault, attack, whatever, political opponents is all it is. I mean, I don't know how you see it as anything else.
Yeah, and that's how pretty much everything is that comes out these days. You see something in the news cycle, it's always politicized no matter what it is.
Well, I mean, we're sitting here looking at. We got 3 TVs in the studio here, and I don't know if Connor, as he puts on the different cameras and stuff, probably shows you all the different angles. But I mean, I literally on 2 side-by-side TVs, I've seen 2 different polls that say the very opposite things. There's no such thing as truth anymore. Listen, go to thehometownheartbeat.com, thehometownheartbeat.com. Join us live on Facebook and YouTube. You're listening to Hometown Heartbeat with your bearded host, Zach Walker. Got to wake up this morning. Got to wake up. Got to get up. Got to get up. Get out. Got to wake up. We got a call on line one. Dan. Dan, what is going on, buddy?
Well, Zach, let me tell you what. It's people like you and your show and the station in general and stations like this all around the nation. I'm telling you, could you imagine? And I want you, you're pretty knowledgeable. I want you to explain to me what you would think if we didn't, and not just the one-word answer, but tell me what you think if we didn't have stations like this and expose the crookedness in Washington, D.C. Where would we be?
Well, I think you're seeing that. I think you're seeing that happen all over the country because stations like this and shows like this exist in very small bubbles throughout the media landscape in the country. And so I think you see exactly what happens when stations and people and conservative ideas get shelved is the degradation of society. That's exactly what happens.
Well, conservative ideas, my friend, if I'm not mistaken, that's what built this country. Okay, hard work, keep your nose to the grindstone, raise a good family, believe in your God, and do what's best for this country. And that's what conservatism is, and that's what makes this country great. And now you got these left-wing fruitcakes are trying to stop all that because they want free, and they want it now, and they could care less about anybody else but themselves.
No, that's exactly right, Dan. That's exactly right, and I appreciate your call. Appreciate you, your kind words this morning. It is one of those things that that we have to remember as citizens of this country. We have to remember that. I'm sorry, I just looked up and I just saw a headline on CNN and it just made me tickle. It just tickled me. 3 Northeast states require travelers to self-quarantine. Shut up, CNN. You're stupid. No, but he was right. I mean, he's dead on right about the fact that people like us. Well, I mean, he is right. We're awesome, but he's also right in that the accountability from the folks that are willing to talk and be open and honest and call a spade, right? Those are good things to have. You have to have them in a society. And so Dan, thanks for your call. If you have a call or if you have something to say, 1-866-494-WVNN, 1-866-494-WVNN. I will take another caller right now if there's somebody out there. What do you think about 3 Northeast states requiring travelers to self-quarantine, Dallas?
So they're forcing people who traveled from...
If you travel in from out of state, you're being forced to self-quarantine. Follow the science!
I just... how do they even enforce something like that?
Yeah, I have no idea.
I
have no idea.
Like, I have family up north. If I go up there to visit family and I have to self-quarantine, I'm probably not going to do it, to be honest with you.
You're probably not going to go.
You don't think so?
I wouldn't go, no. No. I mean, look, here's the deal. These people are the same people. They want border. Hey, look, they want to protect their cities. They want to build a proverbial wall around their cities. So let me tell you this concept. Let me lay this out for you. These northeastern cities have realized that there's something out there that may hurt them. It may hurt the citizens of their city. It may hurt their people. And so they've said, very wisely, might I add, we don't want to see our people hurt, so we are going to control our borders. And they get praised for it in coronavirus. Yet, our president decides he wants to control our borders and gets destroyed for it. And so that is... it is a double standard. It is wrong. Listen, when we come back, we are going to have the interview with Mo Brooks from yesterday afternoon on the Jeff Poor Show. We will play that for you as soon as we get back. In the meantime, you're listening to Hometown Heartbeat, thehometownheartbeat.com, thehometownheartbeat.com. We will talk to you soon.
Oh, I'm just, you know. Hey, yeah.
No, there he is, right?
Hey,
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
You're getting there. You're getting there. All right, listen, we're going to go straight to this Mo Brooks interview from yesterday. It was a really good interview. We had a really great time on the Jeff Poor Show. And so, with no further ado, here is our sterling interview with Mo Daddy Brooks.
In the studio with Copper. We actually have Congressman Mo Brooks on the phone. Congressman, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Thanks for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Happy to.
You're in session in Washington, and what's going on? You haven't been there for a while.
Well, for whatever reason, Nancy Pelosi decided to let us come back and work for a week or two. So it's a pleasure to be here. We still haven't gotten much work done so far, not the House as a whole, although in the House Armed Services Committee, two subcommittees I'm on, we did pass the readiness part of the National Defense Authorization Act and then the Strategic Forces part of the National Defenses Act. So we're moving that along, and that's both those bills are subparts of the bill are good for Huntsville, Madison County, and the Tennessee Valley, given how much work we do on Redstone Arsenal. We're going to have some major votes this week. One will be on whether to give the District of Columbia statehood. I don't know if you saw my news release that was sent out earlier today. I'll be voting no on that.
Okay.
That is just a sham and a power grab. I can understand why citizens in Washington, D.C. would want to vote on U.S. senators, but the way to do that is to do what was done with the Virginia portion of the District of Columbia. That was returned back to Virginia. Those Virginia citizens now get to vote on U.S. senators. And if the Washington, D.C. residents want to vote on U.S. senators, we should return to Maryland, that part of the District of Columbia that has residential areas. To kind of put it into perspective, what the Democrats want is two socialist Democrats in the U.S. Senate, because that's just about guaranteed to be the case coming from Washington, D.C. They do not want the citizens returned to their original state of Maryland, and that's just wrong. It's akin to making the Tennessee Valley a state all by itself. Absolutely. That's how small the District of Columbia's population is, and of course the Tennessee Valley would hold 4 or 5 District of Columbia's. Washington, D.C. is a middling-sized city, and it's not deserving of the same senatorial power that the 50 states have. But that's one bill we'll be voting on. Another one will be the Democrats want to slowly but surely federalize local law enforcement activity. And I don't believe that's right. For that matter, the Republicans are marching in that same direction, just not as fast. So I'm going to vote against both of these efforts to force the federal government to mandate to cities, counties, and states how they should conduct their own local law enforcement activities. The very premise of this legislation is that Washington, D.C. is somehow smarter than the rest of the country, that congressmen, senators, and presidents of the United States are smarter than all of our city councilmen, county commissioners, mayors, sheriffs, legislators, governors. And I can assure you, having interacted with hundreds of local elected officials and state elected officials in Alabama, that the United States Congress is not smarter than the rest of the world. I can assure you of that. And so I'm going to be voting against both of those bills that would have greater federal interference with local law enforcement activities.
Absolutely.
Congressman, this is Zach Walker. Quick question. Well, comment one. You've got two people in the studio here that grew up in Chantilly area, the Northern Virginia area. So we're quite familiar with the D.C. area and how the word I would use, I probably won't use right now, but how meaningless it is in terms of what you just said. And I'm curious about a quote that you have here in your news release. Socialist Democrats don't care one twit about D.C. residents voting on U.S. senators. Rather, their goal is 2 more guaranteed socialist Democrat senators. And I think that speaks to the nature of the entire national conversation right now. It's not about the issue. The issue is not the issue. It's the agenda that has become the issue. And what the left has done so brilliantly is the ability to mobilize. Unfortunately, my generation, I guess I would be considered a millennial by birth, unfortunately. Don't tell anybody, Congressman, it's a secret. But they've so brilliantly engaged my demographic to just take, just like Pelosi ate the ice cream in her house there in her Sub-Zero, fridge freezer combo, talking about how tough it was to be quarantined. We just sit here and we take their spoonfuls of happy sauce and we just assume that they're right and so on and so forth. And so I'm curious about your take on the agenda that's at play, both with the DC statehood and with the Justice and Policing Act and really the national conversation as a whole.
Well, I want to focus on the one word that's used, and that's brilliant. The Democrats are brilliant strategists. Unfortunately, they're wrong and they're dangerous for America. They want to turn us into a socialist society, and they will use any and all means necessary to achieve that goal. And the danger with socialism is that it is a loss of freedom and liberty. It's where the governing powers dictate to the citizenry what they can and cannot do with their lives. And often, in the accumulation of power, there is the extermination of millions of people in order to implement the kind of socialism that socialists demand. And I can use China, communist China as an example, the Soviet Union as an example, the Nazis in Germany, bearing in mind it was the National Socialist German Workers' Party. Adolf Hitler was just a different kind of socialist, and if you look at the Nazi platform, it quite clearly identified itself as socialist, including in the name. Nazi is short for National Socialist German Workers' Party. And in each of those instances, tens of millions of citizens were either killed, murdered directly once the socialists took power, or as a consequence of socialism taking over in China, in Russia, in Germany. And what they do is they exterminate freedom-loving peoples because they perceive freedom-loving peoples to be a threat to their socialist dogma. Now, it works really good if you're a member of the Socialist Party, because then you've got all these slave-like drone workers who increase your wealth and stature in the country in which you live.
Well,
so if you're a member of the Communist
class.
Chinese Party, it works out well. Yeah, it's a ruling class.
That's right.
It's Animal Farm all over again with George Orwell, if you've read that book.
Right.
And there are plenty of other examples. Or you could look at the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia when the socialists took over there. Roughly 25 to 30% of Cambodia's population was murdered, exterminated during the socialist takeover. You can look at North Korea. Just go down the list. This is where they're headed. This is what they want to do in the United States of America. And I'm doing everything I can to get on a rooftop and try to help Americans understand where these socialists want to take us and how much danger there is associated with that.
Well, and I think you made a very, very, very important point about the usurping or stealing of your inalienable rights, meaning that those are not rights that are given to you, but rather rights that cannot be taken away from you. And the Founding Fathers created this government in such a way that we would be protected from the stealing of our rights. And I think that, honestly, going into where we're at today, the left had looked at where they were at and said, well, there's probably probably not a great shot this upcoming cycle, so we'll just kind of move past this in a lot of ways. And then COVID hit. And then there was an opportunity for those who demonstrate the very, ideals that you've been expressing in terms of large central government, lack of individual freedom. And there's a great reason to scare people into volunteering their rights. And I don't know about you, Congressman, but I've yet to see a government in my short time on this earth that took something from me and then turned around and said, you know what? You can have it back.
Doesn't happen very often. And since you brought up COVID-19, I'm going to expand on that a little bit. Shutdowns. Who is it that has suffered the most in the United States of America from the shutdowns of our economies by mayors and governors? Well, it's the socialist states. You look at the 10 worst unemployment states, and I sent out a tweet on this earlier today. It's based on Department of Labor data. The 10 worst unemployment states are all socialist. They're blue states.
Right.
The 5 best states, lowest unemployment rates, are all red. They're free enterprise based. They're liberty based. And that ought to be an excellent contrast that we need to get out to the public. So do you want more unemployment? Then vote blue, because by golly, that's what they're going to give you. You want lower wages? Then vote blue, because by golly, they're going to import millions of foreign workers who are willing to work for less to take your job from you or suppress the wages you would otherwise get.
But Congressman, they want they want to increase the minimum wage. They're going to pay me more, Congressman.
That does not work if you don't have a job.
Facts.
So Congressman, we've actually, I'm sure you haven't been listening to the show because you've been busy out there, but we've had some spirited conversation here. And one of the things that we've been talking about, and I want to get your perspective on this, is right now, I mean, we've got riots going on. We've got cities burning. We've got COVID-19. We've got all kinds of stuff going on. Where do you see the country going right now?
We're at a pivot point. Those that love freedom and liberty had better get into the fight because the other side is fighting, and they're fighting hard.
They are fighting
to take away your freedom and liberty. And I lived through 1968 and the riots that we saw back then. There has not in my lifetime been this kind of threat to the basic foundational principles that have combined to make America the greatest nation in world history.
Amen.
Than what we are seeing right now.
I agree.
And so, patriotic Americans, if you love your country, if you like being the best nation in world history, well, by golly, we are in a fight of our lives. It's a political fight, and we've got to beat back these rioters. We've got to use any and all means necessary to win, because if we don't win this political fight, evil will triumph, and I can assure you that with that evil, there's going to be death, there's going to be economic destruction.
I think you just made the most impactful point. And Congressman, I know you're hard on this, and I've heard you on shows across the country, and we've certainly followed your career in politics. But you just made the most important point I think you've made all day. It's not necessarily about politics. The gospel is very clear in dictating how we as Christians should live our lives, and how we as Christians will be tried, tested, persecuted in our lives. Now, we've been fortunate for recorded human history to not spend much time in persecution. But right now, what we're seeing, if you're a Bible-believing, God-fearing patriot like we are here, it's very easy to boil this down to literally good versus evil in a lot of ways. If you look at the politics of the left and the politics of the right. Now, I bill myself as a constitutionally conservative Christian, not as a Republican, not as a Democrat. I vote with Jesus. I don't vote with a party. And so with that being said, literally, I own some buildings here in Athens on the downtown square, and I would be willing to stand in front of my buildings in the garb that I served this great country with the weapons that I was trained on to protect my livelihood and my businesses. And I've had people in the Christian community say to me, is that what Jesus would do? And I would say that it very much we are in a battle of good versus evil. If you look at the politics, if you look at the policy, you look at the value of human life and where it lands on the left and on the right, it's a no-brainer. I'm curious what your thoughts are in terms of the... All right, we are fixing to go into a break here, and when we come back, there's about 4 minutes left in our interview with Mo Brooks, and we really enjoyed our time with him on the Jeff Poor Show yesterday, and we hope you're enjoying it here on Hometown Heartbeat. Again, hop on Facebook, hop on YouTube, thehometownheartbeat.com. Watch us, listen to us, catch the podcast. This is Hometown Heartbeat. We'll be right back. wherever you can find podcasts. Okay, without further ado, we're going to conclude the rest of the Mo Brooks interview, and then we'll be right back to talk about what Mr. Brooks said and what the congressman, where he's at on some of the issues that we're facing as a country and issues that we're facing as Christians that you'll hear in this next segment. But you just made the most important point I think you've made all day. It's not necessarily about politics. The gospel is very clear in dictating how we as Christians should live our lives and how we as Christians will be tried, tested, persecuted in our lives. Now, we've been fortunate for recorded human history to not spend much time in persecution, but right now what we're seeing, if you're a Bible believing, God-fearing patriot like we are here, it's very easy to boil this down to literally good versus evil in a lot of ways. If you look at the politics of the left and the politics of the right. Now, I bill myself as a constitutionally conservative Christian, not as a Republican, not as a Democrat. I vote with Jesus. I don't vote with a party. And so with that being said, literally, I own some buildings here in Athens on the downtown square, and I would be willing to stand in front of my buildings in the garb that I served this great country with the weapons that I was trained on to protect my livelihood and my businesses. And I've had people in the Christian community say to me, is that what Jesus would do? And I would say that it very much we are in a battle of good versus evil. If you look at the politics, if you look at the policy, you look at the value of human life and where it lands on the left and on the right, it's a no-brainer. I'm curious what your thoughts are in terms of the much bigger question there. You mentioned evil will prevail. Is the significance of this turning point in human history truly good versus evil, or is that just am I just a crazy right-wing conspiracy theorist?
It is good versus evil if evil is described as the kind of hardship, the death, the economic malaise that the socialists will bring us. But let's emphasize something about socialism. One of socialism's biggest enemies is religious values. Socialists want you to think that government is God, that government is the ultimate power in the universe. And if you look at history, what is happening now in China? What happened in the Soviet Union? One of the first things that socialism does is exterminate people with religious values because they perceive that as a threat to the core of socialism, and that is God is your government and government is your God.
Yes.
And we really need to learn from history. If we learn from history, we'll be fine.
No, wait a minute, Congressman. You mean AOC isn't the moral authority on fill in the blank? No, you're exactly right. We've been talking about that for the last, it feels like 3 hours, right? I mean, it's all about right and wrong, good and evil, like politics. We live in SEC country, right? Down here in the Southeast, Nick Saban may as well be God Almighty to a lot of people that don't know Jesus, right? And so we live in a world of idolatry, all of us, but specifically here in the Southeast. And I watch my generation come to faith in a government because, again, and we circle back, the left's brilliance at convincing minorities that they need help, that they need assistance, that they need a handout. And Congressman, it's just in my life, I'm 33 years old, I'm an entrepreneur, and I have busted my tail to get where I've gotten in my life. I've not had a handout from anybody, and I didn't need one, and it wasn't easy, but we're here, and that's my message for my brothers and sisters that are in the struggle. We've got a minute left in this segment. I'm curious as to your message. I give you the last words here. What is your message for those of us locked in this struggle right now as Americans?
We must eliminate distinctions based on skin pigmentation or race. That is an attribute that none of us have control over. It is an attribute that we got at birth, and it has absolutely nothing to do with our character, who we are as individuals. And so I strongly encourage everyone to look past skin pigmentation, something as silly as that, and look at the true worth of a human being, and that true worth is what is inside. Having said that, let me mention that the biggest indicator of poverty is not skin pigmentation. It's whether you were raised in a two-parent home.
Oh, preach, preach, Congressman, preach. Racism, race in and of itself, God created one race. He created the human race. There is ethnicity. There is melanin levels in your skin, but there is one race, and it is the human race. And at the foot of the cross, Congressman, we will all stand equal.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Congressman. That was you had some very good words, and thank you for all you're doing up there for the state of Alabama.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We had a really good interview with the congressman. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. 1-866-494-WVNN or 678 on radio. Call us. Let's talk about what the congressman said. I think he made some really good points, and obviously I took my opportunity to make some points as well. But the concept that what we're dealing with as a country truly boils down to good versus evil cannot be understated. It can't be lost on you that literally we are dealing with the forces of right and wrong, good versus evil, the bad guys and the good guys. And that's not political necessarily. It shouldn't be political. It should be based in the policies of those political parties and what they stand for and how they line up with the Bible, how they line up with our faith in Christ Jesus, and reconciling those two things is difficult. I get that. It's not easy to understand exactly how, what, when, where, and why. I know that, but that is exactly what we're dealing with. And so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to break, and I want to stack the phones up. Give us a call, 1-866-494-WVNN or 678 on radio. And let's do a phone segment when we come back. We're going to hear from all of you and bring you in, see what we can lean into here. Come on, give us a call on Hometown Heartbeat. In the meantime, check us out at thehometownheartbeat.com, thehometownheartbeat.com. We're live streaming on Facebook and on YouTube. You can get us wherever podcasts are downloaded. You're listening to Hometown Heartbeat. This is Zach Walker. We'll be right back. heartbeat, your big, beautiful, bearded host, checking in this morning with news from the Choppy Chaz. Choppy Chaz. A couple of things. One, there will be a lawsuit. There will be a lawsuit. Numerous Seattle businesses, including auto repair shop, tattoo parlors, property management companies, etc., sued the city Wednesday, alleging city officials were complicit in allowing an occupied protest that has made them feel unsafe in their neighborhood, according to reports. Workers and residents also joined the lawsuit over CHOP, the Capitol Hill occupied protest, which drew scorn from the one Donald J. Orange-haired Trump and other critics who accused Mayor Jenny Durkin, the commie, of turning the city, or literally turning the city over to anarchists. Give us a call, 1-866-494-WVNN. Let's talk about this. 678 on radio. So they're suing the city, and they're saying that the city was complicit in allowing anarchists to take over, which is all accurate. I believe that they will win this lawsuit. I believe there will be significant victories in this lawsuit. That they're dead on, they're spot on, and the lawsuit, quote, is about the constitutional and other legal rights of the plaintiffs, businesses, employees, and residents in and around the CHOP, which have been overrun by the city of Seattle's unprecedented decision to abandon and close off an entire city neighborhood, leaving it unchecked by the police, unserved by fire and emergency health services, and inaccessible to the public at large. Since we have no leadership and we have a city council that's so socialist, there really is very, very, very little support for businesses. As far as the city reaching out to small businesses like ourselves or any other business, there has been zero. Whoa. And this comes after news that they're disbanding the CHOP. Can you believe it? They're disbanding the CHOP.
Have they said how they're disbanding it yet? I saw that they announced that they were going to disband it. But
Dear comrades in the struggle, over the last 2 weeks, we achieved what no one thought was possible. We successfully built a self-governing community and convinced city leaders to enact meaningful police reform, including substantial budget cuts to the SPD. Last night, Solidarity Committee received notice from some of our trusted partners that persons in the park were in danger. We immediately implemented our emergency relocation plan, successfully evacuating most of the park. Thankfully, no danger materialized. However, we are now left with the reality that, hear this right here, that very few remain in our beloved CHOP. This morning's census finds, quote, fewer than 24 clustered near the East Precinct. That's ridiculous. I'm talking about, hey, do you remember the demands, Dallas? Do you remember what they demanded when they first started the CHOP?
didn't they demand
disbanding?
No police.
Disbanding of the police. And now they're calling the CHOP a success because they got less funding for the police. You didn't succeed. You occupied a six block square of real estate in the most communist state in our country and accomplished absolutely nothing but a few rapes and a couple murders. Like, that's what you accomplished. Your legacy will be those of the hashtag Me Too movement from the girls that were assaulted in your CHOP. That is your legacy. Your legacy are those who were killed in the violence in your CHOP. Your beloved, as you said, your beloved Choppy Chaz. Give us a call, 1-866-494-WVNN. Let's talk about the CHOP because we need to discuss this. My son is listening. Zayden Walker, good morning. They're going to Chick-fil-A. I'm a little bit jealous. You should see Dallas's face right now. He is so, and you can see Dallas's face right now on the live stream at Facebook and YouTube. It's where you want to be. You want to be right there on the live stream. You want to be looking at my big, beautiful bearded face. But Zayden, I love you, buddy. Enjoy your Chick-fil-A. And we'll I'll see you this afternoon, buddy. So no, the Choppy Chaz is a legacy of stupidity and ignorance and assaults and murders and they accomplish nothing. I guess they led a successful insurrection. I guess. What do you think about the chop? The choppy Chazzy Chop. Give us a call 1-866-494-WVNN or 678 on radio. Dallas, I guess we missed our opportunity, buddy.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to going to visit. I will say this though, they succeeded in at least getting it set up, and we're sitting here talking about it, but
is that? I mean that, but that's like it. It's a shame, and fortunately, I guess for the president, fortunately for the president, that he didn't have to send armed Americans in to combat armed Americans. We have a call coming in. Tom on line 3. Tom, welcome to Hometown Heartbeat. What do you want to talk about this morning?
Hey, my friends, how you doing this morning?
I'm good. How are you, Tom?
We're doing good. I got called up low census today, so I'm having a free day off. It's a good day.
I hear that.
Right. So these guys accomplished, like you said, nothing except a legacy of death and destruction. Mayhem and misery equally spread, just like socialists like to do. So in this respect, I would like to see, like you said, they did this in a place where openly welcome people participate. I'm from Chicagoland, originally. Pull that nonsense there. The gangsters there would mow them down like many blades of grass. They wouldn't stand a chance.
Well, look, there's a reason they didn't try it.
Texas.
I was about to say there's a reason they didn't try it in Texas. There's a reason they didn't try it in Alabama. There's a reason they didn't try it in freaking Tennessee. There's a reason they didn't try it in freaking Mississippi. There's a reason they didn't try it in Chicago. Like because they wanted a soft target. They wanted
soft target.
That's right. It's about the lack. Hey,
that's right.
The one here's their legacy, Tom. I'll guarantee you this is their legacy. The gun control debates are gone forever.
Over. It's over. It is absolutely done and over. There are more people, first-time firearm buyers we are finding out, who are going to actually get trained. The gentleman up here at Bullet and Barrel who trains people,
yeah, Noel Bishop,
he is getting calls left and right for training. Most of them are suburban women.
And my wife, who I just was talking to a minute ago, is listening, and she has been I'm ex-military, and so she's not gone to formal training with Noel, but Noel and I hosted the Jeff Poor show yesterday. Noel's a good friend of mine. That's the instructor that you're talking about with Bishop 30 Solutions.
Yes. And I want to do his program so much. I swear to God, I do.
Oh, he's a great guy. He's a fantastic instructor. His career, DEA, he went through Ranger School. And he served this. At one point there was a hit out on his life, which is kind of
his ex-wife or something. Yeah,
yeah, it's a fun story to hear. But it is. You're right. No, my wife knows how to use a weapon and knows how to use multiple weapon systems and understands how to protect herself and hopefully the situation. God forbid there ever is a situation that
an insurrection like we're having now.
That's correct.
That's
correct.
Know what another legacy to this is going to be? It's going to be that we have now awakened more people to what really is going on in this country. Whether that goes too far or not, whether the fishbowl memory people will actually keep it in their brains or not, is debatable. Because, some people have the memory of goldfish, but, nanoseconds. But it has awakened more people, especially my younger generation. My 16-year-old daughter was asking me more questions. Now, mind you, she's got her issues being 16 and of the computer generation, screen-faced all day long. But more people are now asking questions than ever have before, ever, in this day of information Passover. So, you gentlemen all have a very good day now. Okay?
All right, thank you, Tom. That's a great call there. If you wanna add your 2 cents to the debate, to the lively discussion we're having here on Hometown Heartbeat, you can do so by calling 1-866-494-WVNN or 678 on radio, 678 on radio, and you can join us here on Hometown Heartbeat if you are wondering who we are and where you can find us. You can do that at thehometownheartbeat.com. You can do that at thehometownheartbeat.com on Facebook or YouTube. Check us out. We're live streaming. And right now we're talking about the legacy of the chop Chazzy Chop, the Choppy Chaz, as the leaders of the Chop call for the disbanding of their, quote, beloved Chop. I love how they started their letter, comrades in the struggle. Like, what's up, Red Dawn? Jackrabbits are on the loose. Like, get out of here. This is a freaking joke. All you've done is made it absolutely, positively, wonderfully clear that no one is coming after our guns anytime soon because we might need them to protect ourselves from yahoos like you. So I'm glad it's being disbanded. I'm glad that that's all going down the way that it is now. Honestly, for the president's sake, I'm glad he didn't have to. I'm glad he didn't have to send in armed people, Dallas. That would have been a bad look. Although the right thing to have done, in my opinion, it would have been a bad look. I mean, the president doesn't need any worse optics right now than he already has. Good, bad, or indifferent. That's not a indictment or a support statement. It's just a fact. And so, he was able to stave off having to send in armed guards or armed soldiers to fire upon American citizens. Wouldn't that have been something?
Yeah, I can't imagine the media backlash behind that if Trump would have had to send in somebody like the National Guard. But I mean, if people are in there dying and getting shot and stuff, you got to do what you got to do. But yeah, you're right. Thankfully, you didn't have to do that.
No, it's it's a good thing. We're really excited about that. I'll go ahead and make an announcement now. Tomorrow morning, we will have the mayor, Ronnie Marks, on the show during this time frame. He'll be here at 6:30 tomorrow to discuss with us Athens, the new developments that are coming in, the Panda Express. The city council unanimously approved 6 separate public hearings during Monday's meeting. Or I'm sorry, they talked about apartments on Indian Trace. They talked about a lot of things that are going to be very, very big to those of you that live here in Athens specifically. And then next week we will have Mr. Russell on, the gentleman who will be challenging the mayor in the upcoming election. And we will have both people here to talk about their platforms and what they're excited to run about. And I want to tell you this. If you are listening, you're like, wow, I'd rather listen to Mo Brooks, or I'd rather listen to you to interview somebody other than local politics. It's just a bunch of backwoods, yada, yada, yada. Like, the only politics that really affect your daily life are the ones like the interviews we're gonna have upcoming tomorrow and early next week. Local politics, that's what affects us on a daily basis. So as you know, you're listening to Hometown Heartbeat, thehometownheartbeat.com, thehometownheartbeat.com, or on Facebook, YouTube, live streaming every morning from 5 to 7 here on WVNN. You are listening to Zach Walker, your beautiful bearded host. We will be right back. smartest show on the radio. We are back from our break. We want you to call 1-866-494-WVNN or 678 on radio. Call us right now. Don't be scared. I won't hurt you unless you're stupid. Just kidding. I'm kidding. Sort of. What about Wisconsin? Apparently, it's time to cut the cheese, if you know what I'm saying. Was that a bad joke?
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
I thought it was funny, personally.
Actually, you know what? It might have been so bad that it was good.
Well, that was kind of the hope. It was so bad that it was good. They are activating the National Guard. Apparently, there has been a night of violence and protest and whatever else. And now the National Guard is being activated, and they've attacked a Democratic senator. That's what we call the left-on-left crime. Once again, we go to the phones to take my favorite caller, the one, the only, Rich from Huntsville. Rich, how are you, buddy?
Hey, I'm well, Zach. I wanted to talk about race and good versus evil.
That surprises me, Rich.
Yeah, that's what I do. So look, race is a social construct created by white people, Europeans. So it's not black people that need to learn that race doesn't matter. We're not the ones that created that. And as far as good versus evil going unpunished is tyranny. And as far as I know, the evil of slavery has gone unpunished.
Okay, Rich.
So that's where we at.
That's probably a pretty ignorant view of things, but here on Hometown Heartbeat, we like to give everybody their opportunity to speak their mind, even if they make no sense when they talk. And so thank you again, Rich, for rambling on and joining us this morning. I appreciate your commentary that is baseless and pretty well useless. But it is to say that slavery is an evil that went unpunished, therefore white people are in charge of creating tyranny. Rich, I would remind you that it was black people that stole black people from a continent far, far away and sold them to white people. That it was a continent of Africa, rival tribes and gangs and whatever it was that would literally kidnap the people on their continent to sell. It was money that created slavery, not white people. Just to be clear, I constantly find myself feeling bad for Rich because Rich has a very limited understanding of the world, and it's not his fault necessarily, but that's why he keeps listening to the smartest show on radio. Is so that he can be educated, and hopefully over time Rich will come to understand how the world actually works and not how it works in his head, because they're two very different things. Rich, thanks for calling as always. I don't know why you volunteer for the abuse, but I'm happy that you do. Anybody else want to call? 1-866-494-WVNN, 1-866-494-WVNN, or 678 on radio. Check us out at thehometownheartbeat.com, thehometownheartbeat.com, or on Facebook, YouTube. We're live streaming, and you can see this big, beautiful, bearded face anytime you want to. There's a GoPro sitting here about 1 foot away from me, and I'm talking about a close-up. And here we are. You can look at us. You can see what we do here in the studio. I promise it'll be underwhelmed. We've made a living out of low expectations. Madison, Wisconsin. They're activating the National Guard. It's getting crazy. And then we got a senator getting attacked. This is so funny. Dallas pulls it up in the break, and he goes, this guy was in the protest and got his tail whooped. Is that how you sounded, Dallas?
Something like that.
It was pretty close. And we watched the video, and it was like, this guy, this Democratic senator, Tim, what was his name? Tim Carpenter was assaulted after taking a photo of protesters. And then he puts it out on Twitter and says, I took this pic. It got me assaulted and beat up, punched, kicked in the head, neck, ribs, maybe concussion, socked in left eye, is little blurry, sore neck and ribs. 8 to 10 people attacked me. Innocent people are going to get killed. Capitol locked, stuck in office. Stop violence now, please, with a Z. First of all, Tim Carpenter, English is tough. I get it. Grammar, also optional on Twitter. I understand. But you went out to rile up your comrades in the struggle, and you ended up getting your tail whooped. I guess all white people all look alike. And Mr. Carpenter looked just like a normal white guy, probably hated black people, probably a racist. Let's whoop his tail. And unfortunately for Mr. Carpenter, he got socked in his left eye, and it's a little blurry. I hope your poor eye is okay. But you've created this problem. Now it's time to deal with it. You are listening to Hometown Heartbeat. We are going to take a quick break. We will come right back and do a phone segment. Call us right now. I'm answering the phones personally. Call right now. Get stacked up. Let's have a phone segment. 1-866-494-WVNN. 678 on radio. You're listening to Hometown Heartbeat, the pulse of Americana, with your bearded host, Zach Walker. We will be right back. symphony to my ears. All right, we got a phone bank full of callers. We have David on line 2. We're going to start there. David, welcome to the smartest show on radio where you're the star. Talk to me, Goose. That was such a setup. David. All right, we'll go to Adam on line 3. Adam, thank you for calling Hometown Heartbeat, the smartest show on radio. What you got for me? Something's wrong, Dallas. We've got people on hold all over the place. Dallas. Adam. Hello. Adam. Okay, let's go to line 4. Let's see if we can get somebody. Can you hear me? Hello. Yes, you're on the. Sorry, we had 2 callers and it just went like this. You want to know what they had to say? I'll wait. All right, what do you got for me this morning?
This is John.
Good morning, John.
I missed your show. I was still picking up breakfast at curbside, and my breakfast was getting cold, so I may have lost a little continuity. But you were talking about socialism.
Oh yeah, we always like to talk about socialism. What do you got for me?
Well, I had wondered, if you reward everybody, no matter what their performance is going to say, what you do is you really encourage a poor performer, and you take your real good performers that, in a usual situation, would work really hard. They'll say, hey, I don't have to work so hard anymore. And so your real producers are going to go down. But I have often wondered and meant to go by the children's libraries. When I was a kid, I'm born in 1948, and chopped cotton on the top of these hot hills that be 100, sometimes 104 degrees, and work all day long as an 10-year-old. So that's the generation I'm coming from. But we had a story in school, in public school, about a little red hen. And Little Red Hen got with all her neighbors and said, let's have some biscuits, and I'm going to plant a garden, a small field of wheat. Will somebody help me? Nobody wanted to help. She went through the whole process of taking in the grain, milling it, grinding it into flour, and finally one day would get no help. So then she baked the biscuits, and then everybody wanted to come. I'll bet you that book is, and we learned the story is, let's all work together, let's work hard, and we can enjoy a real good life. And I would almost bet that you won't find that book on the shelves of the library anymore.
No, absolutely not. It took you a second to land the plane there. Bring it in nice and slow. Get that thing on the runway. But the story was fantastic, and the point is even better. You're right. People want to enjoy the spoils of the labor, but don't want to put in the work. That is the very construct of socialism. On line 5, we have. What's your name, sir? I'm talking to you. David, Adam, John. What's your name?
Oh,
there he is.
This is David. We got cut off. I agree with John 1,000%. And I think the origin of most of our actually cultural and structural and actually evident problems going on now is the fact that God has been taken out of everything. I'm the same generation that John was talking about, and we used to do things like say our morning prayers in school, and we would pledge allegiance. But all beings, I don't care if it's your cat. We had a cat. The more it didn't want to go outside, and the more we let it go outside, the more it roamed and roamed. And eventually the cat wound up dead because it roamed too far. The nature of the beast is that you allow one thing to happen, and that one thing gets greater and greater and greater. We have, for some reason, taken, and go for socialism, whatever term you want to put on it, we've taken the Lord out of things. We've taken prayer out of schools. We've allowed liberalism and everything except the basis for which this country was built. We've allowed that to be, let's just let people do what they think.
The moral of the story here, moral of the story is don't end up like David's cat. I'm joking, but David has a great point, and the point is that, a cat being a domesticated animal, a pet, right? Think about your dog. I got a dog that sleeps in a bed, right? I'm talking about a bed, like a human bed. That dog's got a pretty sweet life. But if that dog was allowed to roam around outside and do what he wanted, when he wanted, how he wanted, and go and find other dogs and find food and do things like it. you very quickly see grass being greener on the other side. And the reality of our grass right now is, if we would just get back to basics, find ourselves where this country was originated, where the founding fathers, the Constitution, was able to guide and dictate policy and decisions and leadership, we would find ourselves in the greenest grass of all. And unfortunately, that's not where we're at. If you want to give us a call, it's 1-866-494-WVNN. Adam, if you're still listening, I don't know what happened, buddy. We lost you. We had you on hold and we lost you. So give us a call back. We have a few minutes left in this segment. But I think that's awesome. I love going to the phones. It's my favorite part of being on the radio, if I'm being honest with you, is engaging with you smart listeners. I mean, look, you're smart enough to listen to my show. That means you're pretty smart, because this is the smartest show on the radio. And so at the end of the day, you know, it's sad that we have to be the voice of reason in an otherwise unreasonable world, but it is the truth, and we are here. And so we are excited, honored, and terrified to have a platform like this, because it means that in the Bible, in James, it says, "Brethren, for you ought not to be want to be teachers, for teachers will be judged more strictly." And what they're talking about, what they're talking about in the Bible, there is if you're given a platform, a position of leadership, a position of authority, that you will be judged more stringently than those who don't have one. And so, please don't. Yes, we have a good time and we laugh and we poke fun and I'll tell you to land your plane faster and Rich from Huntsville will get owned. But what is true about this platform is that because we've been granted this platform, we will be held accountable to a higher standard, and we don't take that for granted by any stretch. There's no point in time. I am so fortunate. I'm blessed to be here talking to you right now on this radio station. There's no sound logic or reason that would allow for a reasonable person to listen to me talk and say, oh, well, that guy needs to have a platform. No, this is not about me. This is not about my opinions. This is about something bigger than me. Our country is facing its greatest crises in our nation's history, in a long time of our nation's history. And we are at, as Mo Brooks said in our interview with him yesterday, a turning point of American history. He also said that if you are a God-fearing, country-loving patriot, it is time to get in the fight. Because the opposition, the adversary, is fighting. And contrary to what Rich from Huntsville would have you believe, it's not a construct of white people. It is the fact of our democratic republic that we have to speak up and act, or else be at risk of being marginalized. We're seeing it now. We're seeing a movement across this country of a people group that feels marginalized. They feel discriminated against. And we're watching as they speak up and let their voice be heard. And quite frankly, it's a conversation that we need to have in this country. Now, some of the methods that they're using to get their point across, while I don't agree with them, we cannot disagree that they haven't been effective in getting a message out. It's time for us as constitutionally conservative Christian people to speak up and do the same. And that's what I would implore you to do today. I would implore you to think about your position on these issues, on issues that matter, on issues of race, on issues of faith, on issues of democracy. Because where you stand is important. But more important than where you stand is what you say and what you do. We've been given this platform here, and we like to use that platform to allow you, the caller, to call in, speak out, and have your voice heard. Unless you're going to say crazy things, in which case people probably aren't going to hear you. Because there's a difference in listening to something and hearing something. You're forced to listen, but you don't have to hear. We want to be heard, not listened to. And I want you to think about the difference in those two. The difference is empathy. The difference is love. The difference is grace. The difference is it's the way that you receive the information. Does it just come in one ear and go out the other? Does it just rattle around and disappear? Or does it land? We talk about landing the plane. When you call in here and it takes you 15 minutes to get to your 5-second point, I'm going to give you a hard time. Okay, I'm going to. Because this is a 2-hour-long radio show with commercials and breaks and all kinds of stuff where we end up with about an hour and a half of time to talk about whatever it is that we need to talk about. So we got to get the plane landed. We've got to bring our point home. We've got to make sure that every moment that we have this platform is maximized so that God's will would be done in this country and in this democratic republic. In order to do that, we have to take up, raise our arms, move our feet, speak up, act out, and live out our convictions. And I'll tell you this, folks. You don't always live what you profess, but you absolutely will live out what you believe. The evidence of your life will show me everything that I need to know about who you are as a person and what you truly believe. What you say is irrelevant if what you do doesn't match what you say. That was a big sentence. I know that. Let me say it again. What you say doesn't matter if what you live doesn't match what you say. This has been Hometown Heartbeat. Be sure to check us out on Apple Podcasts, The Hometown Heartbeat, on Facebook and YouTube at The Hometown Heartbeat, or on thehometownheartbeat.com. That is thehometownheartbeat.com. My name is Zach Walker. I am your big, beautiful, bearded host, and this has been another great episode of Hometown Heartbeat. We will talk to you guys tomorrow morning.